Hi, and welcome. Thank you for tuning in. This is Story Time with Mama Thea. This is our first story time, but it will not be the last. And in Story Time with Mama Thea, what I do is I have a story here and we read through it together. So today's story is a rather long one, and that's why we're only going to do 15 minutes. We're going to start part one today, and then we're going to continue on with like part two and part three, however many parts we need. To finish the rest of the story. And so I just wanted to say thank you again for tuning in for Story Time with Mama Thea, and I hope you like the story. Now, today's story that we're reading is called Fire and Ice. It is an original story, and I wrote it quite a few years ago, and unfortunately, I can't tell you how many years ago, but suffice it to say, it's been a while, okay? So here we go. Fire and Ice. It's our first in our story time with hair like fire, eyes, the color of the deepest ocean. Her face twisted up to look at him, her lips the color of rubies, begged for a kiss. He bent his head towards hers. Then, Kyle, Kyle Legate was brought back to reality by Mrs. Johnson's high, nasal voice. Yes, he said smoothly, as if he were paying attention to her the whole time. He hadn't been. I asked you a question. Mrs. Johnson was clearly pleased to find that Kyle, indeed, hadn't been listening to her. Her small face was held up high as if she were proving a point. Kyle quickly scanned his brain for an answer. He couldn't find one. He had been daydreaming of a story he was dying to write. When Kyle got an idea, nothing else mattered. Well, nothing to do but tell the truth, he thought. Yes, ma'am. I know you asked me a question. He did too. She just told him. It wasn't lying, exactly. Just bending the truth a little. No, I don't know the answer. Maybe you'd like to show us what it is. Or maybe you'd like to share it with us. I'm gonna, uh, anyway, maybe you'd like to share it with us. Let's go with that. Using the teacher's own way of talking against her. Mrs. Johnson flushed, and Kyle could hear snickers from the rest of the students in the class. Mrs. Johnson went on with her lecture. She taught history. Kyle thought this wasn't very important because it was all about the past, so he let his thoughts drift again. He would have to be careful and stop daydreaming. He was already making a C in this class, as it was. If he made a D, his mom would take his car away. It wasn't much, one of these new Millennium Volkswagens. His friends had teased him when he got it. Kyle liked small and simple things. Kyle was a daydreamer, and to keep himself from reality, he surrounded himself with small and simple things. In his dreams, things could be huge and wild, bright colors and impossible happenings. Sometimes it was hard to tell what was real and what wasn't. Like he was watching Charmed the other day, a show about three special witches. His sister made him watch it. One of the witches in the movie was being influenced by a warlock, like subliminal messages. The witch thought she was sitting in an apartment with a sofa and furniture and grand things, but later on in the episode, when she went back to the apartment, it was completely empty. So what it's saying is she thought she was in a room with, anyway, whatever. Therefore, the witch hadn't been sitting on anything, and her senses were tricked completely. This made Kyle wonder if anything were actually there, if anything were really real. Maybe they were just images your brain gave you so you could cope, because being in nothing was an impossibility. Being in nothing was an impossibly scary thought. I'm sorry, you guys. I am reading this, and I can show you what it looks like. It's really hard to read. It was written in pencil a long time ago, and I would type this out, but no, it's going to take forever, so I'm doing this video here. I hope you guys like the story. I can hear it with all this ruckus in the background. And my neighbor's driving by on their motorcycle, so sorry about that interruption in our story. Okay, So Kyle here is wondering if anything is actually real because he saw an episode of Charmed. All right. I know that might have been some of you guys back in the day watching Charmed and you forgot what reality was, right? All right. So here we go. Let's continue on with the story. All right. So he was thinking, because being in nothing was an impossibly scary thought. So how do you know that your imagination was just that? Your imagination. You don't. So how do you know what's what and what isn't? Kyle told his friends about this possibility, and they said that he thought too much. A good quality for being a great writer, Kyle thought. He didn't much like the idea that his senses could be tricked so well, but then his whole life could have just been an illusion. You never know. He was so completely wrapped up in his thoughts that he didn't hear when the bell rang. He only knew that something had changed when Mrs. Johnson came up to his desk. He hated being caught daydreaming 2 times in a row. Before Miss Johnson could say anything, he quickly grabbed his things and scrambled out the class. His buddies were waiting by his locker along with the usual crowd of girls. He didn't understand why they liked him. Sure, he was good looking, long blonde hair tied back in a ponytail, features like a sculptor's dream with honest blue eyes. Uh, Alright, we'll talk about that one later. He was tall and a little on the skinny side, but not by much. His personality was somewhat serene, but he was so much different than the jocks and preps these girls were usually after. Most girls liked the athletic type or a preppy guy that liked to show off their money. He wasn't poor, he'd admit that, but he never showed off. The girls liked him anyway. Hiya, Chris said. Chris was Kyle's best friend, but they were complete opposites. Chris had short, dark hair and eyes that were almost black. He wasn't short, but he wasn't tall either. He had a buff body like all the other football players and loved to show off his money. Not to mention, he loved taking risks. Kyle liked to be on the safe side. Nick was standing on the left side of Kyle's locker. Nick was quiet. He had a nice, homely face that girls usually like. He had a nice, let's see, he was pretty tall and very skinny. Kyle sometimes thought that Nick was skinny enough to hide behind a tree, right? Isn't right? Nick had light brown eyes and hair almost the same color. He was so nice that he believed almost anything anyone said. He was that trusting. Right now, he had on a look that meant he knew why Kyle was late to his locker, but he wasn't going to say anything about it. Nick was a straight kid. He tried not to do anything wrong. He made A's in all of his classes, and usually got things right on the first try. If it were possible to be a nerd and popular at the same time, Nick had it down to an art. Kyle put his books away, and the guys made their way out of the school. When are you going to get with one of those girls? Chris asked. He only wanted to know because if Kyle didn't want them, Chris was going to take them. Man, you can have anyone that you want. I'm not interested in any of those girls. You don't know what you're saying. Misty was in that group of girls, and she is hot, hot, hot. Yeah, she's alright. Alright? That girl is fine, Chris said. Yeah, well, don't you pressure Nick to get a girlfriend. Okay. Yeah, well, why don't you pressure Nick to get a girlfriend? Kyle asked, trying to change the subject. Yeah, trying to change the subject. If I could only talk. Am I going to rewind this and do a blooper and take this part out? I might, and I might not. You'll get what you get. So, take. All right, she's all right. All right, the girl is fine, Chris said. Yeah, well, why don't you pressure Nick to get a girlfriend? Kyle asked, trying to change the subject. Because Nick has a girl. Oh. Kyle looked at Nick. Yeah, you know, Cynthia in our math class? Well, I asked her out, Nick said. Cynthia was a cute little redhead with glasses and very smart. Nick probably wanted someone who could keep up with him, Kyle thought. Okay. Okay, well, let's put it this way. When I find the right girl, you'll know. I'll ask her out. Until then, pick any girl you want, he said to Chris, because none of those girls sparked my interest. cares if they want to be your girl? What about someone who is willing to get it on, if you know what I mean? Chris, stated. Kyle knew what he meant. He may have been ready for it. Why rush into things, especially with a girl he didn't even like? Chris never thought of the consequences of his actions. Kyle didn't like that. He wouldn't say anything. Uh, Me and Nick need to learn to speak up for ourselves, Kyle thought wryly. What he said was, yeah, look, I got this really great idea for a story, and I'd like to get home and start on it. Chris rolled his eyes. Even Nick looked a little exasperated. What? Man, that's all you do, Chris said angrily. He had a quick temper. You never want to hang out with us. You always want to write some dumb story or watch X-Files or something. There you go. That's dating the story. X-Files, you guys. Google it. When was X-Files out? Okay. It has to be after the 1980s, but maybe 1990s, early 2000s. Oh my God. Now I'm dating myself. Anyway, you'll be lucky if you can find a girl that likes you. He said the last part under his breath. Kyle still heard him. You'll be lucky if you can find a girl that likes you. No, like this. You'll be lucky if you can find a girl that likes you. Right? Friends. Who needs them? You sound like a chick. Just punched toward Kyle. It didn't take much for Chris to get angry, and even less for him to calm down. It was funny, Kyle thought, how people's moods could change so fast. He wouldn't think about that now, or he would be standing here all day contemplating just that thought. Chris was looking at him. You know what? You think too much. You always daydreaming about this or that. Your parents ought to pack you up in a straitjacket and send you to a clinic so you can think, he said. He said only half jokingly. All right, Kyle said firmly, and let's just go home, okay? Sure. The boys parted, Nick going with Kyle into his car. I don't know what his problem is. I seriously don't get it. You wouldn't happen to know anything, would you? Kyle asked. Kyle asked Nick. Nick just looked at him a while, wondering if he should tell Kyle anything. Then he said, all I can say is that you don't want to know. That helps. Let me tell you, Kyle thought. The ride to Nick's house was quiet. Nick didn't have a car. He usually got Kyle or Chris to give him rides to and from school. Sometimes he walked. After dropping him off, Kyle went to his own home. His house was a two-story Victorian. Kyle's room was at the back of the house on the top floor. His room opened up into a balcony over the pool. When they were younger, Chris, Kyle, and Nick would jump from the balcony into the pool below. Kyle unlocked the door and went inside. Hello? Anybody home? He called. Yeah, a small voice in the living room answered. He walked down the hall to the living room. Hey, Squirt, he said, giving the little blonde head a kiss. His little sister was on the couch watching TV. A plate with a peanut butter and jelly sandwich was next to her. Mom called. She told me to tell you that she was coming home late and that you needed to start dinner. Kyle sat next to her with a groan. Starting dinner meant he had to cook the whole thing himself from scratch. What do you say about getting food from out? She looked at her sandwich and toward the kitchen. I'm not kidding. Anywhere you want. You can finish your sandwich later. Then he added, Mom won't mind. Burger King, she said without hesitation. Kyle laughed and ruffled her hair. Okay then, go get ready. On the ride to Burger King, Patty put on the radio. What is Light came on, and after that, everyone is free to wear sunscreen. Kyle thought, isn't it ironic that two songs about life came on? Today is filled with things about life. He wondered if there was a reason for it, as if all these things were clues heading up to, or leading up to something. What are you going to tell Mom? Patty asked once they were settled in a booth at Burger King. Patty was happily munching on a junior Whopper and fries. She would wash it down with a soda. Kyle had the same thing except he had a double Whopper. Well, Well, I was thinking about telling her the truth. I cooked dinner. It was so good, we ate it all. Patty wrinkled her nose. All right, I'll tell her little green men came and zapped the food away. No, I'm just kidding. I'll tell the truth. Honest. All right, South Carolina. A place with a lot of history. It was strange to be walking in Charleston, South Carolina. The first thing Nain did when she arrived was buy a new wardrobe with the money they gave her. Now she was getting hungry. A Burger King wasn't too far away, and she thought she would go see what the food there was like. The building was nice and air conditioned. She ordered her food and then went to find a place to sit. While she was eating, she took in her surroundings. Not many people were here today, and the staff went about their tasks unhurriedly. The guy in the back of the restaurant was openly staring at her, trying to look her in the eye. Her grandmother's words came back to her. Never let a male think he is better than you. That goes for everything. He didn't lower his eyes, even though Name was steadily keeping his gaze. She felt a familiar hunger take over her. She licked her lips and kept looking at him. She moved like a predator stalking prey, stepping lightly and silently. All humans are predators. Everyone should move like that, Kyle thought. She was like a character from one of his stories. Perfect. Her skin looked like coffee with cream. Thick, long hair came down her back in dark waves. Her eyes were brown and looked as innocent and wonder-filled as a child's. There was a wiseness he didn't understand. He tried not to notice, but she had curves in all the right places. She was wearing a black halter top and jeans. Both of them enhanced her shape immensely. Big looped earrings were She was wearing big looped earrings and brown red lipstick on her lips. Kyle drank in her whole image as if he couldn't get enough. She was beautiful. He couldn't stop staring at her. Now she was looking at him with a hungry look that scared him a little. What is it? Startled, Kyle looked at Patty, blinked, and then answered, Nothing. Are you done yet? Yeah, let's go. That night, Kyle had a dream. It was a strange dream from a girl's point of view. Alright, so unfortunately, there is a little blurb in here about what the dream is. And apparently, the dream is from a story called Maniac. And I don't know if you guys are aware, but the story that we're reading currently is called Fire and Ice. Alright, so I don't have Maniac right here, but I will do a video of Maniac later, some other time. Okay. Alright, so, and I'm not even sure how long I've been reading now, actually, because this particular camera does not show me. So, bear with me, folks. This is actually a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. We're on page 11 so far. There's like 72 pages in the story. And yes, I'm going to read every last page. This is actually my first time reading the story after writing it, and you guys are going to read it with me. So here we go. You know what? I think this is a good stopping place because we're ending this portion, part 1 of Fire and Ice, where Kyle went to sleep after meeting a mysterious girl in a Burger King. All right. So, and his dream is a story called Maniac. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna find that story. I'm gonna do a video of that story, and I'm gonna upload Maniac so you know what his dream was about. And then we're gonna continue on with Fire and Ice part 2. Okay. Now, Maniac is going to be a separate video, and I'm just going to name it Maniac. So if you want to be able to see what Maniac is about, you'll have to search for the video Maniac under the links here in my video. or in my bio rather, and it'll be there, okay? As always, please don't forget to like and subscribe to the 360 Writer Nicole channel, and just make sure you share this video with your friends, and I'll see you guys next time.